Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name's Nastasia, and I actually look like a ghost. Like literally ghostly white. But hi, hello, I'm glad you clicked on today's video. I just scratched the wall with my nails. This is something that I went through like a year ago, pretty hard. And it's the idea that like, wrestling with the thought that what if God doesn't have somebody for me? You know, you could have been dreaming of getting married since you were little, or you really desire that in your heart and nothing's kind of like working out and it's kind of freaking you out a little bit and you're wondering like, what if I am called to singleness? What if God doesn't have anybody for me? And so I'm going to tell you the like 4 different ways that I navigated those waters and what really helped me. So before I get into it, if you end up liking this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on a video every time I post. By the way, according to my analytics, about 82% of you are not subscribed to me. You are watching this and I see you and you're not subscribing, and if you didn't know, subscribing is totally free, like literally free. And if nothing else, it just, I don't know, it makes me happy knowing that you guys are listening and just want to hear what I have to say. So it helps my channel a lot. So if you don't mind hitting the subscribe button, if you're already watching my stuff, that'd be amazing. My Instagram is right here if you want to see the behind the scenes of my life. And yeah, let's get into it. I wanted to be married since I was little. I literally had my first crush when I was in kindergarten. Like, yeah, for sure. I think he like lives in Texas now. Like, I was like, I guess boy crazy because I always wanted to be loved, always. And so I always grew up with that idea of like, who's my husband gonna be? What's my wedding gonna be like? All that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like, you know, in high school, if you don't find your forever man, it's not a big deal. It's just high school. Freshman year of college, not a big deal at all. You know, you're getting used to everything. Sophomore year, you know, you're still good. And then junior and senior year come rolling around. All your friends have boyfriends or getting engaged or whatever. And then you graduate, and then you get your graduate degree, and then you get a job, and you still don't have a boyfriend, you still don't have that special guy, or maybe you have been dating a bunch of different guys and they all just kind of like fall short of what you want, and you're wondering if there's anybody even out there that exists that you would be interested in. And it's really frustrating sometimes, and it's kind of like, all right, well, if God does have somebody for me, then what's he waiting for? A lot of people struggle with the idea that like they're too old to find that special someone. Like once they hit their mid to late 20s or early 30s or early 40s or whatever, that they think they're too old for that now, like their time has passed, which nobody is too old, by the way. Nobody's too young. That wasn't necessarily my particular issue. My issue was thinking, I have no idea where I'm going to find him or how I'm going to find him. You know, I was kind of like, I'm living in this big city of Nashville now where I have almost no friends. My family doesn't know anybody, that's for sure. And the only way people really meet guys is on dating apps or going to bars, neither of which I wanted to do. I did try dating apps, which that's a video for another day if you want to hear about that story. But I was not interested in doing any of that again. So I was like, how the heck is this gonna happen? I started obsessing so much over the where and how that I would literally be like, okay, what coffee shop do I need to go to not mess up where God's gonna have my husband meet me? Like, I don't want to be going to like Starbucks and him go to Dunkin', and because of that we never meet. Like, what can I do, God? Like, how can I be in the perfect place at the perfect time for what you have for me? Like, I was literally becoming a slave to my own, like, fear of just missing him. Which led me into my next fear of, what if God doesn't have somebody for me at all? Like, what if I've just been heartbroken over and over again for lessons and to help other women, but what if it was all kind of leading to nothing and I'm not supposed to be with anybody? And that was hard for me because I always wanted to get married. And I also struggle with the idea of like, well, what if not only the desires of my heart to have this special man weren't going to become true, but also I didn't deserve it? What if God was punishing me for something, or I had to prove to him that like I could have this amazing man, like I could do this, I could steward a relationship, I had to prove it to him. And I started getting all in my head, and it was so works-based and was freaking myself out. First, I had to come to the conclusion that this wasn't going to happen by my will alone. And nothing good in my life has ever happened by my will alone. Actually, most of the time it happened against my will because I mess up things so much as a human. And that this was going to be by God and through God. And I needed to stop thinking that I was going to mess something up or make it happen sooner or anything, because I just don't have the power. You don't have the power there. Yes, free will exists, but it is still under the sovereignty of God. There's no free will that you can use that will overcome God's will. If he wants you to be with somebody, you will be there. And if he doesn't want you to be with somebody, there's nothing you can do to make it happen at all. So I needed to stop worrying about how and where it was going to happen, because the only thing that was certain was it was going to be in God's timing, not mine, and it was going to be in his place, not mine, and I'd probably not expect either one, which I ended up not, and that I just needed to be okay with that and just go where God called me to go and not worry so much about how my fate was in my hands, because it's not. My second thing that helped me is I decided I didn't want to date anybody except my future husband. There was a specific prayer that I prayed about a year previous to this that I'm going to talk about in my upcoming video, where I talk about this prayer that changed my life. But with that, I also, this last summer when I was going through this particular season, I didn't want to have eyes for anybody except God and my future husband. So I said, God, do not let me have eyes for anybody but Jesus and my husband at all. I don't even want to look at another guy. I don't want to be intrigued by any other guy at all. I just wanted to, I'm done being heartbroken. And that truly, truly helped me, because I wasn't looking everywhere for who is my husband and, you know, what can I do to attract him? Like, I wasn't looking anymore, because I knew whoever my husband was, God was going to give me eyes for only him. Okay, number 3, I realized that since the timing wasn't mine, the how and the where wasn't mine, and none of it, everything was basically out of my control, that there was nothing I can do, but I could sulk around and be miserable during that time, or I could just try to have a fun time and embrace this time and do things I enjoyed and actually use that time to find hobbies I loved and just, I don't know, seize the day, I guess you could say. I found things I loved. I did spin classes. I made so many videos for you guys. I hung out with friends as much as I could. I was drawing, I was painting, I was doing a ton of stuff that I just loved, and exploring different coffee shops, just a ton of things. And that time, it sounds selfish, but it should be used for you to improve your spiritual relationship with the Lord, physically, mentally, emotionally, funly, I don't know, just like a fun time. It's your time. Like, you never get to be selfish in your life. Like, selfishness is not good, but this is kind of the closest thing you get, because you don't have, like, a boyfriend or something that you have to kind of think about. You can kind of make your plans based around what you want to do, you know, concerning that God wants you to do it too, if that's the case. Number 4 that helped me, going along with my last point, was because I took that time to become so kind of engrossed in things I loved and learning the things I loved and really diving into that season, that I became obsessed with my time being single. I loved it. I had so much fun. And when I say fun, I don't mean like culture's version of fun of like sleeping around with guys and going to bars and getting drunk and doing all these things, because nobody's holding you down. No, like, I had good fun. I read books and I got to make friends and like got a new job and all these things that I was really excited about. I was so truly enjoying life that on my way to my first time meeting Kai, my now boyfriend, on the way to our first date, I remember sitting in my car outside of the place we were gonna get coffee by myself, and I was just thinking, do I even want to be here? Because what if this is the love of my life and I lose this time of singleness? I was that content in my season of singleness that I was like, do I even want a boyfriend? Is it gonna ruin everything? Like, I was that happy. And it was kind of like then that I realized I was ready, because I was so content being alone, just me and God. Number 5, actually the last thing that really, really helped me in this season was wrestling with and coming to a content conclusion with the question of, what if God doesn't have somebody for me? And the answer is, that's okay. If he doesn't, then that's okay. Actually, it's more than okay, because that means he alone is more than enough for you. Like, you are so loved by the Lord that you get a one-on-one relationship with him with no distractions. One time I heard, this was while I was in my season of singleness, and it wrecked me. I heard this woman who is single and she's in her late 20s. She was talking about like being single and kind of giving a talk about it. And she said, Lord have mercy on me if I ever think that having only you is somehow second best to having a man. And that ripped my heart out. It shattered it, it crushed it, and it put it right back in, because it was like, how many times have I thought, but what if God doesn't have anybody for me? What if I just have him the rest of my life? What if I just have Jesus? And it's like, wow, God help me if I think that somehow just having Jesus is second best compared to a man. It is the God of the universe who has chosen you as a child. He is not plan B. He is not second best. If anything, a man coming into your life is second best. If anything, a man coming into your life is plan B along with God. God is always number one. You are already in a relationship of your life. And it's just if you're going to have that extra person or not, but either way you have Jesus. He is never second best. Lord, have mercy on us if we think that as your children, that somehow you're holding out on us for only giving us you and not a relationship in culture size with another human. Like, I know it's cliche and I know it's cheesy, but you have to be okay being alone before you could ever be okay in a relationship, because God is not second best. And if you go into a relationship thinking he is, and like, oh, thank goodness I have a guy, okay, now I can do life. Oh man. Not only are you in a world of hurt in your marriage, if that's your reasoning, but like, crap happens. Your husband could die. Like, you know, things happen, and I mean, God forbid that happened to you, but it happens. And he needs to always be plan A. And your first resort, not your last resort. Not a, well, at least I have God. No, you first have God. You first have God. Everything else is, at least I have, at least I have. You first have him. And like, I could make as many videos in the world to help you come to that conclusion, but no matter what, it's a heart thing. The only way to truly be okay with the idea of, if I'm called to singleness, that's more than okay because I have God. Not because, well, I'll be fine, I have God, but like, I am delighted I have the Lord above anything. Nothing else matters nearly as much as that. You gotta be in your word. You gotta be close to his heart. You gotta be getting to know him just to get to know him, not for an ulterior motive. Like, pray to him, talk to him, ask him to fill that void in your life, that hole in your heart. Maybe he has somebody for you and maybe he doesn't. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but in the grand scheme of eternity, it doesn't matter. Yes, it matters right now, and because it matters to you, it matters to God. So don't hear me and think I'm saying to God it doesn't matter because you have him, so you shouldn't be selfish. No. Like, I've been there. But I promise you, friend, that there is no sweeter, more complete feeling than finally that peace of, no matter what, I'm good because I have God now. Like, nothing else matters compared to that. Before you go, take a screenshot of my face right now. And if you could, because you love me, post it on your Instagram stories with my Instagram handle at Nastasia Grace. And if you tag me in it, you have a chance of winning coffee on me this week. So I do a drawing every week of people who post screenshots of my videos on their Instagram stories and tag me in them, and I will either send you a Starbucks voucher or $5 over Venmo or something like that so that you can get a coffee on me, my treat. It's kind of like I'm having coffee with ya. So I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for being here and spending some time with me. I'll see you soon.